Hello everyone, thanks for joining me in this presentation, which is about how to use PERMA and AmAre as a tool for personal development. Together we will also see Madhyamaka, Advaita Vedanta, Tikkun, Olam, and positive psychology, and how these spiritual and religion traditions can work together with positive psychology to allow clients to flourish. This is a list of the topics we will be talking about. We start from the learning outcome. We see which is our narrative. We use PERMA by Dr. Martin Seligman to assess the fruits of flourishing. We use AmAre to assess the seeds of flourishing. We then briefly introduce evolutionary theology, and we will go through different spiritual and religious traditions to see that they all share the same interests and the same priorities in allowing people to develop themselves for the benefit of all beings. And we conclude with some examples of positive psychology interventions that practitioners can use with their clients. Our learning outcome is to learn where positive psychology meets different spiritual traditions to facilitate clients' flourishing. The underlying narrative is clients' lives has a journey from fragmentation, where values, goals, cognition, and behavior are not aligned and detrimental to each other, to unity, where values, goals, cognition, and behavior are aligned and building on each other. So Dr. Martin Seligman's PERMA would not require an introduction, so we just keep it short and remind people that what this acronym stands for. So PERMA stands for positive emotion, engagement, relationships, meaning, and accomplishment. In my work, I use PERMA as a very valuable tool to assess the outcomes of a meaningful life. With some clients, it's worthwhile to assess PERMA before and after working together. One way I do that is using this table where each component of PERMA is described, and the client can assign a grade and a weight to each of these variables. So grades are a value between 0 and 1, and the weight, which is the importance given to each aspect, is the sum of all weights, should be 100. So to say this again is a client assigns a grade, meaning the rating, how satisfied he or she is with this outcome or of a happy life, and each grade is an independent value from 0 to 1, and that would be like answering the question, are you satisfied with positive emotion, where 0 stands for no, 1 stands for absolutely yes, and all the values in between are just a degree towards yes or towards no. And weight is the importance, and why the sum of all weights should be 100. So this is a way to assign within a certain range of variables a given number of points. So for example, if a client assigns 20 to the weight, meaning to the importance of relationships, then there are another 80 points to assign to the remaining 4 variables. And this allows the client to define what matters for him or her, and also how satisfied he or she is with each aspect. Of course, the higher the importance given to one aspect, and the higher the rate given to that answer, the higher the life satisfaction. If a client assigns a low grade to an aspect which has also low importance, this may be left to work on later on. However, if a client assigns a low rate to a variable which has high importance, then it means that the client is not satisfied with something which matters in his or her life. So this is an aspect which needs to be addressed by the practitioner. When it comes to assessing the seeds of a meaningful and flourishing life, I use AmAre. AmAre is an acronym which I designed to summarize the inputs of a happy life. In Italian, it means to love, and in English, it stands for interconnectedness, like I am, we are, so AmAre. And AmAre, I also use it as a format to talk about scientific research and spiritual practices which facilitate well-being. So AmAre stands for being aware and accepting, meaningful and motivated, active and attentive, resilient and respectful, and for eating properly and exercising. Aware and accepting is about awareness of who we are and the context where we are, and the interconnections between us and everything and everyone surrounding us. It's also about accepting what we are aware of, accepting what we like, accepting what we cannot change, and also accepting to take a commitment to make the changes we want to make. AmAre is about being meaningful and motivated. Through the process of awareness, we discover what matters for us, and we keep ourselves and our clients motivated. To be active and attentive is a very important component of AmAre. So after we are aware and we are motivated to act, we act on what matters for us. So we implement the changes. And we are also attentive to the feedback which comes from people surrounding us. We are resilient because we know that change takes energies and time. We are able to come back even when the external outcomes are not as positive as we expected. At the same time, we keep respectful of everyone because we understand we are all on the same boat. We are all trying to figure out what's better to do in our lives. And we support all our components and ourselves by eating properly and exercising. This ensures we get the maximum energy to support a flourishing life. And this is a format which can be easily explained to clients, and as an acronym, and especially when implemented, it's fairly easy to remember. The way we assess AmAre is the same approach used by us to assess PERMA variables. So I will not repeat them now. However, if you want to have more information about this, the formulas, which are the same of the PERMA formula, are mentioned in the conference paper. We now move to flourishing for the benefit of all beings, and we start with evolutionary theology, which is a working model used to facilitate interfaith peer support groups. And when you work with clients who are giving a lot of importance to a given spiritual or religious tradition, and your work is one-to-one, then it's very easy to understand what's their mindset and what their beliefs are. And if you work with a group with fairly homogeneous beliefs, again, they come from a similar background. However, if you work in a group where there are participants who have stronger beliefs, which are different from each other, you need a common understanding, a common agreement to respect each other and to build on each other's differences. So that's why I use evolutionary theology. So it's not something which clients need to believe in absolute terms. It's something that they just accept as a working model in order to respect each other. And the way I explain evolutionary theology is that depending on each member tradition, what is called God or wholeness, unity, and so on, never started, never changed, and never disappeared. What is evolving, so what is evolutionary, is the way we describe this oneness. So to make it short, it means that even if there are several religions and several spiritual traditions, each of them is extremely valuable because it represents the best way for people who belong to such traditions to explain to each other oneness. And at the same time, always as a working model and not as an absolute belief, it means that each member of a given tradition needs to see the value of the traditions and of a description provided by our cultures. And it's really easy to see that several philosophical, spiritual, and religious traditions have this underlying theme of allowing, facilitating personal development, spiritual development, awakening. Again, it's a similar concept explained in very different terms for the benefit of all. So not only for the benefit of the individual, but also for the benefit of society. So in the case of Madhyamaka, which says that all phenomena are empty of substance or final essence, awakening is cultivated for the benefit of all beings. And this is a Buddhist tradition initiated by Nagarjuna. And we see that the same theme is also present in Advaita Vedanta. And here we summarize for all traditions a main point in one sentence. Of course, that's a very extreme summary, and it would take years just to describe each of these rich traditions. But it's just to give you an idea of what we're talking about. So for Advaita Vedanta, which literally means non-duality, the self, Atman, is the whole Brahman. So, for Advaita Vedanta, we do not say that we are part of the whole, we say that we are the whole. This is not on a conventional, ordinary level, it is on an ultimate level. And again, no matter what's your opinion or your belief about this, Advaita Vedanta stresses the importance of non-dual transmission from being to being. So again, there is a work, there is a gift from one individual to another. The Jewish tradition is rich of similar examples, and we take it as an example of all Abrahamic religious traditions. So the Jewish tradition brings us Tikkun Olam and Chesed. Tikkun Olam means literally repairing the world. It's about cultivating an ethical society, which then inspires flourishing in our groups outside the Jewish religion. And Chesed, which can be translated as loving kindness, and which is common to our religious and spiritual beliefs, like love your neighbor and so on, like you love your neighbor as yourself. Now we see how to wrap all of this together and to have an inspiration for some positive psychology interventions. And we divide them by each component of AmAre. So for awareness and acceptance, with your clients, you can work on meditation. In some cases, meditation may be interpreted as a religious component from Eastern philosophy. So in that case, you can keep it very simple and just offer to your clients positive visualizations based on their goals. And in terms of, again, awareness and acceptance, so clients can understand better what are their strengths, you can use strength assessment tests, and you will see that once a client sees, once clients see their own strengths and their own leading character components, their life will make much more sense to them. When it comes to meaning and motivation, you can use PERMA and AmAre and align it with your clients' values. At the same time, after growing, cultivating awareness, after facilitating acceptance, understanding what's meaningful for them, clients commit to be the change they want to see in their lives. So instead of waiting for outside outcomes, for example, before waiting to be successful in a relationship, to feel successful in relationships, they will start by being the change they want to achieve. So they will be caring and actively listening in their relationships, and then they will get the desired outcome. When it comes to action and attention, you can align your clients' action and commitments with their strengths. And again, you can use mindfulness meditation, so your clients are present in the here and now. Resiliency and respect, in addition to the intellectual explanation that there are many people and many variables, and so it takes time, and clients need to be resilient and keep going and keep loyal to their commitments. You can also use mindfulness-based stress reduction, which is richly supported by evidences. And you can use loving kindness meditation to cultivate respect towards all beings. It's very important for clients to be respectful of our beings, because we tend to mirror each other's behaviors. So if clients respect our beings, even if they do not necessarily agree with their actions, then it's more likely that our beings will respect them back and make their life easier. And when it comes to eating properly and exercising, you can provide some basic information yourself. If you are certified, you can also provide like nutritional and exercising advices, or you can work in a team with a certified yoga teacher and nutritionist to make sure that your clients receive the maximum energy from their food and from and for their physical activity. So to summarize and conclude, working with clients on personal development, it's a rewarding journey. It's rewarding for clients because they get what they came for. It's rewarding for us because it's both an opportunity to grow professionally and also an opportunity to grow personally. And it's a new page every day to be written together with our clients. This is a list of what we spoke. So we spoke about PERMA, how to measure the fruits of flourishing. We spoke about AmAre, how to measure the inputs, the seeds of flourishing. We talked about evolutionary theology, different spiritual and religious tradition and concepts. And we gave an overview of some positive psychology interventions. So we saw how positive psychology meets spiritual and religious traditions to facilitate clients' journey from fragmentation, where values, goals, cognition, and behavior are not aligned and detrimental to each other, to unity with an alignment of values, goals, cognition, and behavior, and where each of these contribute to each other. And so clients can flourish. So I thank you for your attention. If you want to get in touch with me, you can use the website www.amareway.org. That's AMAREWAY.org. Thanks again, and I wish you all the best for your work with your clients.